Guys, this is going to be quite the hodgepodge of videos, but I wanted to take a second and bring this guy out here because I'm such a nice person that a friend randomly gave me a wonderful gift. And this is actually a wood carving that is one piece of wood, and it has a certificate of authenticity from the artist Tim Hart. And ironically, a friend gave me this beautiful present for no reason. My birthday's in November. Anyways, just wanted to share. I think I'm gonna name him Henry. Now let's go over some things that I've been doing in the garden. Spring has sprung and we have been busy. I guess since we are out front, we should go over the front garden first. As you can see, everything's just pretty much naturally coming back to life. I do have the baskets down from my little plant holder here that I hanging baskets from because I want to put new plants in those and put new baskets up. But as you can see, and I'm about to grab the camera so I'll show you that everything is pretty much coming alive. And as far as this is concerned, all of these things were already here from years previous. Now, I do have some weeds taking over my mints there. I do realize that, but my oregano is looking good, making a huge comeback this year. This back here, guys, I thought this was weeds at first, but it is dill, and that's a good deal. And that's rosemary. And as you can see, most of these plants are doing really well. This is a Russian mugwort, and there's some lemon balm there, and you see the butterfly bush is already blooming out. Now we're over here by what I'm going to go ahead and just call the Espalier garden, because this is the one that I have planted the fruit trees around and put the taller fencing up. I still think I'll probably put the post up and put the guide wires for my fruit trees to be Espalier. But let's go ahead and take a look in this garden. First of all, you will notice that I put my pavers back. I have still not done anything with the back garden behind the home house, and the herb garden is naturally just coming alive there. The yarrow is amazing right now, and I've got some stinging nettle, and that is heal all there in that little pot in the center. I've got some rue, and that's some cardone growing over there. So this is everything in this one, again, is from last year or from the fall when I just kind of broadcast some seeds. Unfortunately, you can tell that the chickens are getting in there and kind of pecking around a bit, but I can't get on them too hard because I don't have it fenced in. Now, we did have about 3 days of strong rain and a lot of wind. So you see there, I have taken the owl down for that. But on this side, I did plant a lot of small little, you see those little seedlings? I don't know if you can see those or not. But you see those little seedlings, they're coming up all along the front of this is going to be a bunch of zinnias and some marigolds. You see my carrots are doing okay, and my beets are doing okay. My radishes are doing well. And the seeds for the Carolina Reaper also did very well. So that's a Carolina Reaper right there. Now that plant right there, I think is either going to turn out to be a sunflower or zinnia. I'm not sure, but it came up on its own. I did not actually plant that one there. That's why I don't know what it is, but I did plant this garlic over here. And if we go on in, my little motorcycle man, he's ready for summer. I had put some potatoes right here, and we had a couple of days of cold come in, and some of them did not fare very well. I did leave them alone because I didn't know what was going to survive and what was not going to survive. Back in like the end of February, the beginning of March, I planted some peas, as you can see there. And then I've put some green beans and some cucumbers that will climb on the trellis. And at the very end, I put a snapdragon. That's going to be a flower. Now, along here too, you can see those little seedlings, I hope, in the camera. Those are flowers that will be coming up. And I also went across the front of both sides of this gate with some seed flowers, or some flower seeds, sorry. And I don't know if they're kind of come up or if it's too mulchy for them or what. We'll have to wait and see. But right off the bat, at the front gate, I have 2 Romas planted here. And again, on this other side of the trellis, I did an asparagus bean, which is a really long green bean this year, and my regular trail of tier beans, and I need to get a cucumber on this side as well. I did put artichoke right there. Now, I did plant my tomatoes in here before the 3 days of really strong wind and 3 days of rain, which was a little excessive, quite honestly. So that's why my little tomato plants look a little bit rough, but that's okay. They'll either make it or they won't. We'll just replace them if they don't make them. Those 2 pepper plants there are sweet peppers. I actually saved the seeds from grocery store sweet peppers to seed those plants. And then here we have bell peppers in between these tomatoes, and Sugar Rush peach peppers in there, and another tomato. And this is just a regular jalapeno. I went across this whole fencing with okra. I did a green spineless okra and a red okra. And this is a little jalapeno plant there. And it looks like the ponderosa. I had a hard time with the ponderosas as seedlings looking like strong enough plants to plant. I thought this one was strong enough, but the wind has broken it off. And across the back here, guys, all across this back fence here, I put sunflowers. So you can see they enjoyed the rain and the storms. This is the old cabbage that I had moved from the other garden and put them in here. And then it was before I put the rabbit fencing on the gate portion of this garden, something came in and ate them, and I thought they'd make a comeback. They were trying to make a comeback, but I think it's getting too warm for that. And there's garlic in the middle there. That over there are some radishes that looks like I need to go ahead and pick. So this circles this back. I've already shown you this corner here. And I have a red bell pepper there. And see, it just looks like a weak little tomato plant there. That's the ponderosa, which should be a full-size tomato, but it did not make a strong-looking plant right out of the gate, so I don't know how that's going to work out. And that is a jalapeno. And this, guys, is a cherry tomato plant, and look, you can tell it looked great. I didn't think that this was going to be one that the wind would snap, but clearly it has snapped right at the stem. And I had thrown some more random flower seeds along this wall, just randomly, not in a line, and some in this corner, and I have some sunflowers coming up in this corner as well. And right here I have 2 poblano peppers. So they look like they're doing pretty good. And that is just a big cilantro that probably has seen its time and needs to be pulled out of here, as well as the cilantro that's next to my big cedar pole here. I probably need to go on and pull that, get it out of here. What are you doing? Hey. What are you doing? Are you gonna plant a garden? Yeah, you. You should plant the gardens this year. That'd be nice. Wouldn't that be nice? What do you think? Guys, I'm gonna take you on a little detour here. As you can see, we are already getting some blueberries on the blueberry bushes, so I need to get my bird netting. If you remember last year, if you were watching the garden tours, for years I thought I was not getting blueberries, and then I put a bird net over them. Turns out the hippie and the birds were eating the blueberries before I could get to them. So there's that. But the blueberries are looking pretty good. And I'm gonna take you around the front here so you can see we have a few things in bloom. A few exciting things happening. As you can see, that butterfly is enjoying what's happening. And that's the azalea, kind of in a coral color azalea. And our grapes are doing well that we put on that grape arbor. And that's the wisteria. I hate mowing around the wisteria because I'll be coughing for like 2 days afterwards. But it is beautiful, and it's usually one of the first things that blooms here. So that is not a horrible thing. And just see if this guy will let me show him off. Do you guys see that? Little butterfly working the azalea. This is the elderberry bush that I did a recording on that way early on. It was like my second or third video out. It was no good, but that is my elderberry bush. And I will come around here and show you. This is my little cherry tree, and it looks like it's struggling quite a bit. I do see a few blooms on that. It is not exactly thrilled with life. I thought when I was going to plant that it would be looking like Washington, D.C. And this is my bay leaf tree. And if we look beyond that, most of the things in the bulb garden have already bloomed and passed. And this area here, we had a bunch of leaves from this big giant maple tree every year. One year we burnt the leaves right there, and the grass really didn't come back the way we expected it to. And as you can see, the chickens love pecking around this area, but I'm about to make a video on melon beds. It's probably not what you think. This is where we're gonna put our melon bed. So, go back over here. You can see that Miss Bella is waiting on us. And next to that, our rosemary's coming back to life really well. I have rosemary on both sides of the bridge. And we have the Kona flowers, I believe is what they're called. That's a bulbed flower coming up. And guys, look at the plant cart runneth over. So we've got to start planting pretty soon. This is elephant garlic in the pot, and I have 2 evergreens sitting on top of that because they need to find a home. And there is that's a Japanese something or other there that needs to find a home. That's just shrubbery. I did plant more bulbs in this here, and we have had some things that bloomed, not as much as I expected, but it was their first year. So that brings us to the fenced-in garden behind the workhouse. And again, you can see this here. I had mint that I grew from seed last year, some evergreens I need to find a place for, and this lavender I transplanted from the back garden. Now here we have 3 trees. The one in the middle, I don't know what that is. It lost its label and I'm gonna have to figure it out. The one to the right is a willow. I just take cuttings from the willow trees, stick them in water, they root out really fast, and voila, you have a whole new tree to give to somebody. And the one on the far left I grew from seed. That's an Osage orange. It's also known, I believe, as a hedge tree. I wanted it for the orange balls. And here we have a guava fruit tree. It's more of a bush, it's a dwarf, but I'm not sure where I want to put it. So in the meantime, it's just kind of setting out here, getting watered with the garden and getting fresh air and sunshine. But if we step in here, I guess I'll show you to the right first because it's easier. There is a jalapeno pepper plant right there. There are 2 empty tomato cages waiting on tomatoes. There are a few, like 3 or 4 garlics trying to grow under these potatoes. Guys, I planted the garlic, potatoes, and onions a little bit too close, I believe, because all of that you see, that's potatoes. And then if we go over on the other side, you can see that there is actually a row of onions growing or trying like heck to grow there. Now, I always seem to struggle with the Amish paste tomato, which I really want for spaghetti sauces and stuff. But I have 2 Amish paste in here with 2 of these Borghese tomato, which when I started those last year, I thought, what a weakly little plant, and I pulled it pretty early. But honestly, the tomatoes they put off really make some good sun-dried tomatoes. So I have 2 Borghese tomato plants. Neither one are looking crazy impressive right now, but hopefully they'll grow into it. And there is another Carolina Reaper and another Amish paste right there. Again, not looking fabulous. So we'll see how they turn out though. We've just left this garden, the fenced-in garden, and we will go over here where, if you remember last year, I had the asparagus bed got out of control, but I felt like I couldn't trim it because it was in its first couple of years. It is expanding out, which is great. And next to that, I have a row of onions, and I'm already getting weeds in this one pretty good. I see that I have a volunteer potato there. That's volunteer, I didn't put that one there. I did put a squash over here in this corner. Kind of early for squash, but it seems to be doing well. I've got squash also in the other corner right before the potatoes. And last year I had burdock for burdock root, and I thought it was gone, but that is coming up there. These tomato cages are empty. They're just kind of place settings for where I would want something coming up in the near future. And these are potatoes that I have planted in the corner. And right at the front of it, another squash right there. Okay, if we come over here by the back deck, you can see this is an old stackable pot system that I bought at the Everything's a Dollar store, and it's still got some herbs going strong in it, or making a strong comeback anyways. So it's still there. I'm probably going to take those herbs out and repot them in something else. But look at this, guys. This is our poppy garden. And I tried forever to do poppies, and everybody said, oh, just throw the seeds out there. It's so easy, so easy. Guys, I had to put these seeds in the refrigerator for 3 months, and then I came out here and broadcast them, but we're finally gonna get some poppies. I also threw in some echinacea, and over here in this corner, we have, should be calendula coming up in the corners. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, if we go up on the deck, it's quite a mess, guys. Work in progress. There's pots everywhere. I want to do a bunch of container gardening. I want to try to do cucumbers and hanging baskets and different stuff. For those of you that maybe you don't have all the yard that we have, but you would like to start growing some of your own food, we're going to do that with you. So in this, this is not a green stalk. It is a knockoff that I bought from Sam's Club, and I put strawberries in it. And as you can see, we have some flowers happening, so that's good. Now this here keeps getting ravaged. This one here had some lettuce type stuff going on, and between the chickens pecking at it and the squirrels planting nuts in this thing, I think by the end of summer this is going to be a giant peanut farm right here, this stackable. In this pot here I have a Nanking cherry tree. I'm going to raise it in the pot for maybe a year or two before I plant it in the ground. I feel like it needs to get a lot bigger and stronger first. And this is a really old pot that I had put basil and yarrow and thyme and all kinds of stuff in it, and so that's what you see coming there is the thyme and the yarrow. I have already planted this is a homestead tomato in this pot, and it's got the cage around it and everything ready to go. I threw some pine shavings in there just because I had to get rid of them. But this is an semi-indeterminate tomato that I think will be a good example of what you can get out of a container tomato garden. And this is a kiwi. This here is a kiwi, and it said it was a kiwi tree. I didn't realize that kiwi was so viney, but this is doing well in its pot on the deck, running up the trellis. And I do have another kiwi that we need to find a home for somewhere. Basically I bought it because it was called the Jenny kiwi, and I thought that was cool because I have a sister named Jenny. Now so far in this little container here, I have by the back sliding door so it'll climb up this trellis and make everything shady. So far I just put a lima bean in there and a green bean. But I want you to see how pretty this is right here. This is a grapevine that's coming up the trellis on this side. On this trellis for shading, I mean, we have that cloth, but as far as plants go, in creating the shade, we have juniper, passion flower, now grapes, and possibly this year kiwi. That brings us to the back garden, what I always refer to as the back garden. As you can see, I did change the position of the trellis, the cow panel, and it's been tilled up. Remulched, and I did put a gate on this year. This fencing is only about 2 feet tall. It should not be anything to jump over, but after working out in the summer heat all day, I tell you what, when you go into these gardens and have to go over the fencing, I tripped into the garden like 2 or 3 times last year. So all of the gardens got gates put on them, and simply I put a rubber band hair tie on there, and there's a screw on the other side that you just attach it to. It holds it shut. So far, the only thing that I have planted in here are my green beans. I need to come out here with cucumbers and some moonflowers, but right now I've got my old homestead green beans here and the trail of tier beans on this side. That is basically the only planting I have done in this garden so far. So, okay guys, so it is official. Spring has sprung, as we mentioned in the beginning of this video. I also warned you this was going to be kind of a hodgepodge video. I would like to go through some old footage that I had from last winter with the drone and really do a flyover now, because man, just in a month there's been so much change, so much growth and blooming. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that together. and get that in this video, but I would love for you guys to see the before and after, so we will definitely have to do that at some point. Otherwise, I hope you do enjoy the video, and I do hope that you're excited for spring, ready to go. Good luck with your gardens, everybody, or your container gardens, and may the gods, or God, or the universe, or karma treat you just as well as you treat everybody else. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care of yourself. We'll see you in the next video.